Hello, today is Tuesday, March 3rd, 2026, and it's been a while since I've done this, but again, partly with all of what's going on and just some of the devotions didn't strike me in a particular way, or just felt like I was sharing them without being too um, religious-y, I should say, um, because that's not the purpose of my videos, but sharing, as I've said in the past, things from my past Christian tradition and looking at how sacred texts from various traditions can be looked at in a way, even if you don't partake in that particular tradition or believe in that particular tradition, that it can provide conversation points and thinking points and reflection points for us to look at the world and ourselves in it. And I just came across one today that was written actually by a dear friend and colleague, Joanna D'Agostino. Um, and it did really hit me with many of the things that I'm doing currently as well. And it's entitled, it's from the United Church of Christ Daily Devotionals, and it's entitled Find a Level Place. And again, it's written by Joanna D'Agostino. And Joanna bases the devotion upon Luke chapter 6, verse 17, New Revised Standard Version. Excuse me. Jesus came down with them and stood on a level place with a great crowd of his disciples and a great multitude of people from all Judea, Jerusalem, and the coast of Tyre and Sidon. And then Joanna writes, my family has a pop-up camper which we use as a place for Sabbath and adventure. Pop-up campers require a fair amount of care, but we love ours. One of the cardinal rules for a camper setup is that everything must be level before the roof can be raised. If it isn't on level ground or is supported by leveling blocks, it takes much more effort and force to turn the crank, and essential parts risk breaking or wearing down under unsustainable pressure. The leveling process makes me think of how often we open up on uneven ground, taking on tasks and pursuing goals before finding firm balance and support. Doing it this way takes much more effort and places unsustainable pressure on our minds and bodies, and we might even risk breaking down altogether. Lent invites us to find level ground by taking the time to look inward, recalibrate, check the plumb line, and open up again with steady clarity. I'm reminded of the Beatitudes of the Gospel of Luke, which Jesus shared from a level place. It's unlike Matthew's account of the same sermon, given up on the mountain, alone with the disciples. In Luke, Jesus puts himself among the people, all different kinds of people, and together they found healing and empowerment as a gathered community with their feet on solid ground. They didn't stay there, of course. Neither can we. The world has never been made up of level places. While camping, we hike through ravines and roll down hills, wade in streams, and climb mountains. We seek adventure and face obstacles, knowing we have a level place and a firm foundation to return to for balance and rest. And then Joanna's prayer. Holy One, help us to find level ground so we can continue to serve you in every adventure and every obstacle. A lot of things went through my mind as I was reading this. First, we also have a pop-up camper. That's one of the things that we share in common with Joanna and Mike. And we love ours too. And it is important to have it on level ground. Like ours has slide outs on the ends, which are harder to pull out. And raising the roof, like Joanna said, is easier if the whole thing is level first. So, but the metaphor for it really struck me because one of the things I've been doing lately is doing meditation, guided meditation, because I feel sometimes that with all that's going on, it can be completely overwhelming, and I feel unstable. I feel when I was reading this, it was making me think that I feel like I'm on uneven ground and just staggering about and just overwhelmed with everything. And then the meditation helps to center me back and calm me down, to level out my emotions. It doesn't take away all the stuff that's going on in the world. It just puts me in a different place, in a different position, from which to process them and to move forward through my life. The other thing that struck me is when Joanna talked about Lent, inviting us to find level ground by taking the time to look inward, recalibrate, check the plumb line, and open up again with steady clarity. Lent is a typically Christian tradition, although not all Christians, Christian nationalists, evangelicals typically don't celebrate that, or don't go through that, or don't recognize that time. But anyway, I think it is a reminder, whether you're Christian in that sense and following those traditions or not. I think it's important to spend time every year, so to speak, to stop and reflect. You can do that every day if you want. And that's part of meditation, I think, as well. But I think it's important to take time in your life to stop and reflect, to look inward, to look outward, to consider your life, the things you're involved in, the stuff that's going on, your impact in the world, how you're reacting, self-reflection. It's always important, and for a certain group of Christians, Lent is a time for doing that. Excuse me. And I think every faith tradition has similar times like that, where similar things are done, where we just take the time to stop what we're doing and reflect. And I think all that is important for us to do on a regular basis, just so we don't get overwhelmed, or don't scatter our resources, or get involved in things that are not really that important to us and to our lives and to our interaction with the greater world, or don't help to build community. So I just think it's important for all of us to have some sort of time like Lent, where we can have time to self-reflect and recalibrate what we're doing and see how we're going. Because the ground is very unstable right now, and it's so important to be able to take the time to do that. And as I said before, one of the things that helps me is trying to do a daily meditation. Typically mine are 10 to 15 minutes guided meditation. There's lots of apps out there. I've been using one called Headspace. There's other apps that you can get. There's other methods that you can use. There's one typically thought of as a Christian tradition called Lectio Divina, where you read a text and contemplate on it, take some time to think about it. But you don't even have to do that with a sacred text, a scripture. It can be poetry, or a section of a book that you've read, something that you find inspiration for. But the point is taking the time to stop and reflect. That is the key part of it. And it just helps us, I think, to be better human beings, and to think about our connection to ourselves and to the rest of the world, to the divinity in the world, if you will, the divinity within each other, and just get ourselves back on level ground. So anyway, those were my thoughts as I read this today, and I thank Joanna for her words today, and I'm so grateful for our friendship. And anyway, those are my thoughts for today. Hopefully it's given you something to think about, and I'll talk to you again soon.